This is one of the most disturbing horror animated short films that you will ever watch.
I even know your name, Kayla.
And it's called The Kid and the Camera. If you watch my TikToks, you know that I already talked about this, but we're going to go in more depth as to why this is one of the most disturbing horror animated short films that I've ever seen, and I think that you'll ever see. So this short is about this boy named Kalen who is gifted a camera, and it becomes his favorite thing ever. He takes pictures of things around him, and that's just his way of capturing everything that he sees. Well, one day he ends up tripping and breaking it, and he can't sleep because of this. So, while he's trying to sleep, he is visited by this fairy. A fairy that tells him that they can fix his camera if they just do one thing. And that is, if he follows him to his secret place, he will fix it for him. I don't even know how to fully describe the feelings I felt while watching this, because it's only a 7-minute short film, but there is so much in it that makes it so uneasy. And if you've watched this short film and are curious as to what the hell you just watched, you're going to want to continue watching this video. So jumping to the end of this short film, in which we are left just completely jaw-dropped as to what we just saw. Basically, it ends with the boy going into this abandoned house where the fairy took him so that the fairy could fix his camera, and he goes into the basement of this said house and ends up turning his back, and the camera flashes and we see a man standing there. And then we get another shot of the kid's feet, or the kid, like the bottom part of his legs, just there. And that's how it ends. This whole entire short film is so eerie. And I think it's the fact that it tricks us into thinking that it's like gonna be this cute thing, especially with the animation and just how it's like, it's claymation, the fairy looks friendly, and it really distracts us from the true horror of what the message of the short film is actually trying to show, which is that you don't trust strangers, even if they are so convincing enough to go with them. You never go with them. But the scariest thing about this is that kids really do get abducted, and it is a scary thing. And the way that this short film explores that idea is so haunting, and it's so shocking. Because first off, this does not sugarcoat the true aspects of a real life situation like this. There's real pictures of a real person that's not claymation, so it separates it from the actual short film, in which most of it is stop motion, which really pulls us out of it and makes us be like, whoa, like this is really, really creepy. But the very last shot before it cuts to black are those kids' legs that are just there. Now, that is a very interesting shot and very peculiar. But when we think about it on a deeper level, the fact that we're getting a shot of just the kids' legs there is that it's just a visual representation as to how people really feel when a loved one gets stolen. There's always going to be that little bit of hope that they're still alive, but also we could just as well think that they're dead. And the idea that it's just the kid's leg is that now we think to ourselves, well, the kids might still be alive, just missing legs. Or we have that hope of that they are still alive, but really they're dead. And it's a never-ending loop of just horror. Now, breaking this horror short film down is pretty tricky because, yes, it's a very eerie and creepy short story, but on the other hand, there's a lot of messages here. And if we take a closer look, we begin to really understand just how horrifying it actually is. Now, one of the most creepy aspects of this that you might overlook when watching it for the first time is that this fairy knows the kid's name. And by the end of it, we actually know that that fairy isn't actually a fairy. It's just a cartoonist version to distract us from the real life perpetrator. And it's so scary because in real life situations, these evil people that take advantage of people are people that typically you know. It could be, friends of the family, it could be family. And the fact that this short film references the fact that the perpetrator, which is the fairy, knows the kid's name without the kid telling it its name, that is so scary. And it's such an amazing way of distracting us, because I didn't really even like recognize that at first. I had to like look back at it a couple times. It's really scary. And once you rewatch this short film and just instead of seeing the fairy, if you just put, you know, real life people into this situation, it is just very haunting. It's like we're watching this whole entire thing unravel, and it's so unsettling. There's one really scary picture in this short film other than the real life person at the end of it. And it's where when the kid first enters the abandoned house, he starts taking pictures. He takes pictures of like the staircase, the doors, and just like the people, they are real. They are real and not animated. But there's one picture in which it shows the real life surroundings. It's not cartoonish, but that fairy is in the shot. And the importance of that shot is that the kids' vision and how they see this person that's trying to quote unquote help them is the way they really see it in real life. And it's a way of really connecting us to the story because it's merging both the animation and real life things together, and it's horrifying. The true art behind the animation is really interesting as well because it reminded me of like those really creepy shows from like my childhood and like other people's childhood, in which it is just supposed to be a kid's show, but there's also that level of uncanniness to it where yes, this is supposed to be cute, but on the other hand, this is low-key disturbing. And that's exactly what this is. Like the design of the fairy, there is a level of comfort to it, but when you take a deeper look, it is insanely unsettling. And it really just makes it that much more creepy. And to add even more levels of creepiness, the stop motion animation isn't really even stop motion animation. They barely move. Our characters go from one position to the next within the next shot. There isn't a fluent motion of like head turns or footsteps. It's just the character could be up in the sky if they're falling and then on the ground in the next shot, and it makes it that much more creepy. The main message of this short film though is that children are precious, and no, that's not a hard thing to understand. It should be a really easy thing to understand. Kids are easy to manipulate, and this short film really describes that in such a horrifying way that it really makes us open our eyes and understand it more. Don't trust strangers, and don't be afraid to tell your parents that you accidentally broke the camera that they got you for your birthday. And don't try to be the hero of your own story. Get the help you need and don't trust strangers. This will forever be one of the most disturbing animated short films ever, and if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you do. Even if you've watched this video all the way through now and have it all spoiled, I still highly recommend it because even me just describing it won't give you the amount of feelings that I felt while watching it. But anyways, yeah, we're getting into the spooky season and we're starting it off strong with this insanely unsettling horror short film. But anyways, that will do it for the end of this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this content, and yeah, I will see you in the next video. But remember, your movie moment is right around the corner. See you in the next video.